Dangerous police chases, they happen all the time. We see them on TV. They start in just a split second.
They can kill, though, in a split second as well. And now some people really want to slam on the brakes because they say the cost is just way too high.
So fasten your seatbelts. As 7 investigator Jim Kirchner tonight shows us the trouble, the proposal, and the reaction.
April of last year, state police attempt to stop a car with suspected murder and drug dealers. In a split second, it turns into a wild ride through the heart of downtown Ann Arbor, even up on a sidewalk. Talk about the wrong place at the wrong time. No one is injured this time. Last June, another state police car crashes after a high-speed chase on I-75 at 7 Mile. No one seriously injured this time. Last August, this high-speed chase by state police on I-75 in Detroit reaches speeds of 100 miles an hour, ending in a rollover crash, killing one inside. The suspects were wanted for car thefts. In Flint last summer, this state police chase started because the driver was not wearing a seatbelt. As the chase blows through a red light, this T-bone crash kills 65-year-old Jacqueline Nichols. It happens in a split second.
All I can tell y'all is my mother was a loving, kind-hearted person.
Get this, Flint is the hotbed of hot pursuits with crashes 270 since 2005. 4 people killed last year, according to state police.
The job and responsibility of a peace officer is to protect and serve, to enhance quality of life. There is no quality of life if you're dead.
He's introduced this House bill that would make state police comply with a city or township's local pursuit policy. And he says that will affect state police in Detroit, Pontiac, Flint, and Saginaw, where they assist in patrols of those cities. While there's plenty of support for his bill, there's plenty of others who want to slam on the brakes on stopping state police, including this former Eaton County sheriff.
If they propose that the state police are not allowed, for example, to chase into Flint, what will happen is Flint will become a magnet for bad people.
According to records obtained by the 7 investigators, Flint, Detroit, and even state police allow police pursuits and have similar policies that include these considerations: nature of the violation, speed of the pursuit, population density in the area, weather and road conditions, presence of pedestrians, and traffic conditions, among others.
So it's a bad idea. It's not going to work.
The Flint crash could end up with a huge price tag, not measured in the death of a loving mother. Jacqueline Nichols' family has teamed up with a high-powered attorney seeking $50 million in damages.
Police chases are known to endanger the public.
Representative Neely will start with a committee hearing on his bill. Stakeholders on both sides will be invited to discuss their stand.
I would like to have been in the roll call room of the MSP officers after the first fatality in my community, and then after the second fatality in my community, and then after the third fatality in my community, and then after the fourth fatality in my community, all within a 5-month period.
The hearing could also include families from Metro Detroit killed in these controversial pursuit crashes. Jim Kirchner, 7 Action News.
Yeah, so clearly this is a controversial issue here. These chases can sometimes have deadly consequences. They can also help police catch suspected criminals who are on the run.
So joining us now to debate this are the 2 men you just saw in Jim's piece, State Representative Sheldon Neely and State Senator Rick Jones. And I will start with you, Representative Neely. Your bill calling for state police to comply with local police pursuits. Explain what that is, and also exactly where are you? You are still in favor of pursuits, but just with some guidelines.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, Stephen, because my bill doesn't say that you're not allowed to chase in residential communities. Is that the state police have to acquiesce to the lead law enforcement agency's pursuit policy, because local officers know their community much better than state police officers. And they don't want to be driving through a community doing pit maneuvers at 100 miles an hour where they put lives in jeopardy, especially innocent lives.
How do they do that, though, in the heat of the moment? Are you just supposed to be aware of all the different policies in the different communities, or how would that look in a real-life situation?
Well, my bill only speaks to 4 different communities where MSP officers have been designated by our governor to do residential patrols. Typically, state police officers don't do residential patrols, but in the communities of Flint, Detroit, Pontiac, and Saginaw, we have a high infestation of police officers, state police officers doing residential patrols. But we know that the ultimate responsibility of a police officer is to protect and preserve life, not to put innocent lives at risk.
Senator Jones, you're in Lansing right now. Explain what your position is on this, chase or no chase.
Well, every department should have a policy. We totally agree. The state police is one of the most professional police forces in the nation. They do have a policy. And obviously, if the guy doesn't have a seatbelt on, you may want to call off the pursuit. If he's just shot up a bank and killed 3 people, that's a different story. Each incident has to be handled at the scene.
Clearly, though, we have seen incidents where they're not handled, it would appear incorrectly, or that they're not handled correctly. We saw the case in Jim's piece there in Flint, I believe, with a woman whose mother was killed by police chasing someone who did not have their seatbelt on. So are these policies in place, but they're just not being followed?
I wasn't there. I can't say what was occurring, but you have sergeants who direct the troopers or the deputies or the police officers in the manner of the chase. If they decide it's dangerous, they can call it off. But if you say there will be no pursuits in Pontiac and Saginaw, Detroit and Flint, what will happen is the crime rates will really skyrocket. Right now, those are 4 of the toughest cities in the state. You will make them worse if people think they're a sanctuary for people to do crime.
Well, I would encourage the Honorable Senator to please read my legislation. It's bill number 4233, and it's not saying that high-speed pursuits are prohibited. It's saying that they would have to acquiesce to the lead law enforcement agency's pursuit policy. These are the professionals of residential areas and in those communities. They know when churches and schools are letting out what intersections are going to be busy at that time. And in last year alone, they chased a person. A life was lost because of a seatbelt, an innocent life. Because of tinted windows, a life was lost because they said a person rode a stop sign. That is a cost that's too high to pay. And I would hope the senator would join me in saying that we want to safeguard innocent lives in the state of Michigan. And also the Treasury, a $50 million lawsuit has been launched against the state of Michigan and its taxpayers because of the failures of these officers in residential communities.
Representative Neely, I still am trying to understand what it would mean to acquiesce to the local department if a police chase is happening at the moment. Is that them being aware in those 4 communities that you mentioned what the rules are ahead of time? Or is it supposed to be you're calling the department if there's a chase in that community and telling them about it? Can you clear that up for me?
Yeah, what would happen is that the local command, our police chief, our local officers, lieutenants and captains will be able to call off an MSP officer if they're engaging in a chase. And then that local community high command would say, hey, this is at a cost that we don't want to risk. Okay. And they can call off the pursuit. Right now with MSP, local communities, local officers or command cannot call off an MSP chase.
Mr. Jones, is this possible in the heat of the moment for this kind of bureaucratic rule following? Is it possible to make this happen?
I don't believe so. I've spent 31 years on patrol. I was a deputy, a sergeant, a captain, and then the sheriff of Eaton County. Those decisions have to be made out on the road. Somebody in an office sitting in Flint can't say, I'm going to call this off. The state police are one of the most professional police agencies in the country, in the world. They need to make the decision.
And before we say goodbye, Mr. Neely, where does is this legislation that you have proposed here, where is it now in committee, and where do you hope it goes?
Well, it has been assigned to a committee. The committee chair is going to give me a hearing, but unless I get others like Senator Jones to help me with this policy, but he has to agree that the lives of innocent people in the state of Michigan means much more than a traffic violation of a seatbelt. And so I would hope that he would join forces with me so we can move this piece of legislation forward.
Senator Jones, will you?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to join with him, or you still have some debating to do on this issue?
I think there's a lot of debate to be done on this issue. I'm not convinced that the legislation will accomplish what the representative wants.
I hope you would read it, Senator Jones.
We appreciate both of you taking the time to talk to us this afternoon, and have a nice holiday weekend. Thank you both.
Thank you.